Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Karsha Govan. Today we've got a special unboxing for the Symbaroum starter set from Free League Publishing. If you're looking for a new game for your group, which is similar to maybe D&D 5th edition, this is kind of close. It's all about treasure hunting and all about escapades in a very dark forest. It is probably darker than your normal Dungeons and Dragons game, but it's a really good option and it uses a really simple system to get into. So before we do start the unboxing, before we get into it, don't forget, like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like our content. Leave a comment down below. What box would you like us to unbox next? What do you want us to find and pick up to do a review on? Tell us and we'll see what we can do. Also, just like, if you've got suggestions, we're here to listen. We're also here on Twitch TV for our live content and Twitter for social media while it still exists. So let's get into this. So the box itself is a decent sized box, but it could be about half the thickness. It could be, yeah, it's missing a lot of things, but we'll get into that shortly. So it's a really simple starter set. As always, from Free League Publishing, we have our catalogue. That's just a normal kind of thing. I do have some nice quality dice. They're very simplistic, they're not special, there's no special symbols on them, but they're mostly clear. They could have had a whiter number to make it clearer. We'll get into the first book. Now again, there's not that much in here, so you can see how deep the box is and how little product here. I don't like spaces, so the box itself should have been smaller. Now, the first book is the starter rules. They are numbered book 1, book 2. The starter rules, high quality printing and good binding. This is pretty much what I expect from Free League Publishing. They always do really high quality stuff. The artwork is spectacular. The artwork is very similar across the entire book. The setting and the layout is the same across the books, which is again something that I come to expect from Free League Publishing. Now, the rules themselves are pretty basic. You have about 10 pages of rules plus another 10 pages later on to do the rest of the rules, more combat and other bits and pieces. I find all the rules that Free League Publishing use are really easy to pick up, usually based on the Mutant Year Zero rules or Year Zero rule set. So the book itself, as it's mentioned, layout is spectacular and artwork throughout. Artwork throughout with high quality printing paper. There's a quick reference in here. I would rather have it, here it is, in its own quick reference book or its own quick reference sheet for the players and GM for how combat works, because combat can get a bit strange and a bit complex, but I would, at least they've got a version of it. I would just like it to have a separate sheet so the players can reference it and the GM can reference it when they're playing. It makes it a lot easier than trying to find it in the book itself. The combat system in Symbaroum is a theatre of mind rather than a tactical map style, so I don't expect tokens and other bits and pieces in this game, in this box. So, book 2. This is the setting and adventures. I'm surprised they put so much work into the setting, but I've read the setting and it is actually really good. It is essentially a world which has been where everybody lost and they're starting to fight back and they're starting to clear the evils of the forest after a long period of time, or the evils of the dark times. You're essentially on the edge of a forest and you have to pay a toll, essentially, or a cost to be an adventurer or treasure hunter. You have to have a license, so to speak. And I think it's a really cool addition that you actually have to have that license, you have to pay for it, and so you have to then bring back goods to be able to survive. So I think that's a really cool setting. The adventures, there's only 2 of them, which is the last 2 chapters in the book, but again, you've got information on the setting, you've got information on the town and how to travel as well. So there's a lot of stuff here, and again, the artwork is spectacular. So we have the character sheets. Again, because this box is so deep, and it doesn't have a spacer, again, don't like spacers, it's hard to get everything out. So The character sheets are missing. There are 6 of them, so 6 pre-made characters. There's no backup characters, there's no spare sheet, but there's no how to make a character anyway. So with the characters, there's no how to play this character. There's no, if you want to play this, choose this character. There's no bio or backstory or anything with these characters. It is just a plain blank sheet. That to me, I mean, I see pluses and minuses to it, but for a starter sheet, for a starter box, I think that they should have had some emphasis on, hey, try this if you're going to play this character. It's very much left to the player's interpretation. If you're not coming to this with an idea of how to do role-playing, you can't get that. If you're coming from this with a blank slate as a brand new to role-playing totally, that's going to be a downside to this starter set. And I think it's a big downside. But they are double-sided. They're just missing that type of context for the characters. The characters are diverse. There's 6 of them. And the systems are actually pretty simple when the character sheets for the U0 and the cyber games are very simple. Now, we do have 2 maps. They're both double-sided. We have Thistle Hold, which is again a beautiful map. It's only 2 A4s, which I think is 83. It's got all the details of all the bits and pieces, and you've also got the setting map as well. Thistle Hold is just down here, and that's the big dark forest. That is where the adventuring takes place. So again, very high quality map. It's not going to be something you're using your whiteboard markers on, but it's a high quality map. This is your adventures map. You've got 1 page and you've got another page. Again, artwork is really nicely done, and again, this is not one you're going to be using your whiteboard markers with. There's nothing else. There's no tokens. It's a very simple product. I think my thoughts on this product are that the box should have been half the size, as in thickness. It really should have been thinner than this. The print quality is superb. The character sheets should have had more details in, like, even a little bit of backstory, a little bit of like how to play this character, just to give that little bit of a head start for people that have never played role-playing before. They've never jumped into a role-playing game. It's almost as if this starter set is built for people that already know what they're doing. But you're just doing a starter set for this game itself, not a starter set from how to do role-playing, which is a drawback. I think starter sets are the perfect way to get people into role-playing games. So why do we have a starter set which doesn't have that context? And that to me is a very big detraction. It's a very quick one. There's not much here. I'm not saying the system's bad. I think the system is great. The setting is amazing. If you're coming from Dungeons and Dragons or a fantasy setting and you're looking for just something a little bit darker, this is a really good option. The rules are simple, easy to jump into, not complex. They don't get even more complex as you go up levels. It's just a simple system. I would class it as a light to medium, where I would usually class Dungeons and Dragons as a complex or a heavy rule system. This is much easier to jump into. The setting is quite interesting. So that's my thoughts on the Symbaroum beginner box. It doesn't have a what's in the box, but it does have the bits and pieces here as well. So it's missing quite a few things, but it's still quite worth the buy. That's it for me. And remember, if the option is more entertaining, it's usually the right one. Bye.